Preparing to live stream your show. It takes so long. I don't even know if it's actually when it goes. Well, yeah, done. Great. Why, hello, and welcome to issue 578 of Geek in the City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm one of your other hosts, Rita.
And I am your other host, Cable Hashitani.
Yeah.
That never stops being satisfying.
I can tell by the look on your face.
Which one?
Because I'm like waiting for it to see if it'll happen, and then it happens. That's the real Cable.
One day we should like reverse it and just see if it messes with people.
Oh, it would.
It would mess with me.
Have like Cable start and like Bean would be other. Yeah, just see if we could pull it off without screwing up.
I feel like signs point to no.
I feel like we still haven't even mastered the original opening after like 300 episodes. So why buck the trend?
Fair.
So we had promised Greg and Edalyn this week for another episode or installment of Building Character. But my scatterbrain was absolutely convinced I had reached out to them to confirm this weeks ago, along with the other guests. Turns out I didn't. So it's just us tonight, folks. Sorry. That one's all on me. You should have seen the look of shock on their face when I said, "Hey, we'll see you tomorrow." And they're like, "What?" "Yeah, it's your week." "What?" Oops.
Are they going to join us next week instead?
I don't think so, because next week's our special thing. I mean, they can hang out, but I don't think it's going to be like a segment.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So, but we got lots this week. We've got our annual gift exchange. This will be the first year we don't do it in person, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the thing for everyone. Nothing's in person.
Nothing's supposed to be in person. Everyone is still flying and making travel plans and going to visit people. Because
I mean, if you have a porch and you can sit a few feet apart, that's fine. But yeah, don't get on the plane. Don't do any other stuff.
It's too late. It's fun.
But we're also going to nerd out a lot. We got 2 episodes of Disco and the fucking season finale of The Mandalorian.
Oof.
Which will lead off into so many nerdy conversations. I am super jazzed. So, yeah.
So we should probably get started, huh?
We should.
What are we going to start with?
Let's just do the gift exchange now. That way we don't get distracted by nerd stuff.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Well, who wants to go first?
Not me.
Oh, boo.
Well, because I'm only going to get one turn. So.
Well, no, you got the envelope too.
Oh, dang it. I should go get that. I forgot about that. I thought about it earlier and then I forgot again.
Go get it.
I'll be back.
Okay.
No, we definitely have to wait. Go now.
Banter.
So, Cable, how are you enduring? Actually, how has like retail been this Christmas season compared to like previous ones?
It is our Christmas season busy at Guardian has been our regular Saturday pre-COVID busy for days on end.
I think that's
wow. Yeah, I won't go into numbers, but it started getting busy last Thursday and has kind of remained a steady level of busy since. And I don't foresee that stopping until, next week sometime.
Right.
In theory.
And it must be like a weird kind of blessing. Like, it's like, you kind of want the, the books to be okay, but there's something to be said about not having that incredibly stressful holiday working in retail experience. At least for me, if I remember those days. So
I think one of the things that has made it, a couple of things have made it better. One is that like we truncated our hours to 11 to 7 when we first opened back up to the public, and for the holidays we've been open from 10 to 8. That is still shorter hours than, like, Guardian used to operate a 12-hour day.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like
Which
11 to 11 kind of thing.
from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And that was just Monday through Thursday. Friday and Saturday would end up going anywhere between 10:30 to midnight, depending on what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting because we were always staffed at the minimum of what it took to cover that, not at a healthy amount of staff people for that amount of guests.
Right.
Not having having truncated hours helps a lot. We're operating 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and
Right.
that's plenty. Like if you look at, when you take a look at what we're making per hour based on that, it's like, oh, we're actually doing better, strangely.
Right.
And the other thing that's helped is that we're not running any events. If we were still running events on top of all of this, like dealing with people who are just there to hang out and play games, as much as we like being a community space and want to have a space for that when people are allowed to do that again, that's exhausting. Like, you need personnel just to keep track of people doing nothing but
it's
sitting and
labor
gaming.
that
Right.
that doesn't necessarily turn a profit.
Correct.
Yeah.
And now we're all 100% focused on just dealing with customers.
Yeah. Which, I'm sure is kind of nice in a way,
Mhm.
instead of running the other stuff.
This time last year, I was we had not succeeded in hiring additional people, so we were already short-staffed before hitting the busy season. And then I had my one guy who rage quit, so I was working like 60 hours a
right.
week.
Mhm.
I can't even remember. I think I didn't end up decorating my Christmas tree until like the last minute. It's just like
Wow.
everything else besides going to work and doing that. I had no bandwidth left for anything else.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, so far I've been all right this particular Christmas season, which is, I think, is good. Like, we also have a regional manager who has different opinions about staffing, where it was like, oh, we need to hire this much additional staff for Christmas. It's like, it's September. She's like, yes, I know. Like,
It takes a
okay.
while. It takes a while to get
Yeah.
extra staff.
She hired people in September to get them trained up for Christmas. And sure enough,
Super
they're
smart.
trained up. Yeah. She spent 10 years working in the fashion industry at Zara.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So
cool.
she honed those skills there. So she's like, this is how I want things done. And people at Zara were like, no, that's not how we do things. She's like, this is how I'm doing things. And then she was ahead of the curve when everyone else was getting swamped at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Her stores were fine.
Ugh. And I
She's
remember
like-
when I worked a lot of retail and they would bring in the holiday help, but it was usually like the first week of November they'd start hiring.
Yeah.
And these poor people are just overwhelmed,
You barely have time to learn everything before you're just like literally jumping in the fire.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like I would spend, because this is like, I'm talking about like my Walmart days. I remember I would spend a large amount of time like helping out these these holiday employees that they weren't bad employees. They were lost. They were confused. They didn't know. Yeah, they didn't have training time. So
Mhm.
I don't know if it was actually a help or not to bring people on. Well, that late, it definitely wasn't a help.
No,
Mhm.
it's not, because you end up doing more work.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the people that we brought on in September, it's like they act like this is old hat. It's like, it's just Christmas.
They are fully formed.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
Do you want my lap
very
cat?
positive. Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I can't imagine a supervisor who's like, "No, we're gonna do this with this much lead time so that you're actually fucking ready."
Mhm.
You don't want to be training a new staff member on December 5th. That's just dumb.
No.
Nope. That's why they hired her.
Woo. Also, it looks like our Canadian friend Jamie has finally been able to watch us live on the YouTubes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yay!
Good.
from the
Hey,
Great White
Jamie.
North.
All right, are we ready to do this?
Let's
I
do
think
this.
So.
Who's going first?
Well, you might as well go first then. Or are we going to shoot for it?
Okay, let's see how this works. Ready?
Yeah, ready?
1,
What?
2, 3.
Oh, I thought it was 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
shoot.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Do over.
1, 2, 3, shoot. I don't know why I didn't change that.
Pow. It's okay. Denise is out.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, one. Oh, wait.
Okay. 1,
1, 2,
2, 3,
shoot.
shoot.
Oh, well, God. Oh, it's a tie again. Let us continue this awkward. It's hard to do it this way. Ready?
1. Yep. 2,
2,
3, shoot.
shoot. Oh, God damn it.
You know what, Aaron? Just go first.
All right. I will open, I believe, cables first. Ooh, with this really sweet Superman envelope. Is there anything in it, or is it just for the name?
It's not an envelope. It's a piece of. It's one piece of
Oh.
stationery that you fold in. So don't tear it open.
Well, is there something in there, like
No.
to read?
Yes,
okay.
there is something there to read. It's just one sheet of paper.
Okay. Well,
Like the paper makes its own envelope, is what I'm saying.
right.
Okay.
It's very sticky. It's like it's Kryptonian glue. Oh, it's Kryptonian glue all around.
It is.
Am I re- Oh, I can't read this on air. I'm gonna make me cry.
Read it.
Okay. When I have to read it like this because I don't want to tear it open. It's like
Tear it
reading
open. No, tear open the sides.
Didn't you make a
That's
sharp
what it's
thing?
meant
You want my knife?
Did you just offer me your knife?
I sure did.
Thanks,
Have
Bean.
it.
That was super thoughtful of you. I appreciate you loaning me your knife. If we'd really had our shit together, I would have been like, oh.
Oh, man.
We got to remember that for next time.
Why aren't we more clever?
I mean, that's my actual biography title. Aaron Duran. Why wasn't he more clever?
Oh.
All right, this is going to make me cry, big jerk. Dear Aaron, I love you, my friend. Oh, can I wear this out loud? Is that what you meant? Okay.
Mhm.
I have missed spending time with you in person, and I appreciate that I get to, at the very least, get to see you once a week. I know this year has taken its toll on you in many ways, and I'm grateful that you persevere. I promise you are not alone in your hope for better days, and have my support when the days are dark. Merry Christmas, Aaron. Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. I'm gonna rein it in now. That was very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ooh, this paper is a trip.
I actually sprung for nice paper.
Yeah, it's like that.
Is it
cloth
Lego paper?
It is double-sided Lego paper. It's Legos on one
Nice.
side and popsicles on the other.
Yeah, some of my favorite things. Oh, that is awesome. Cable got me Curse of Strahd minis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I figured that was one of the few Curse of Strahd things that you didn't have.
I don't think I have this one. I have the other one because there's a second one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have that one. So one day I will get to actually properly play that massive legendary edition that I have.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. That's got to be in person. That
Mhm.
can't be a thing over anything digital. It just can't be.
True.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. I love it.
You're welcome.
I might make dioramas out of them too, just for fun. Not might. I will.
All right.
All right. Who's next? Let's have Bean go.
Okay. I am also going to start with cables because I already did the awkward part of unsticking it.
Oh, you got
smart.
to know.
I figured once was enough for the listeners. Dear Denise, I love you, my friend. I'm proud of you moving on from work that you hated to embracing the opportunity for something new. I'm glad that we continue to grow as friends, even when we can be in the same place. You
Can't
are a
be,
trusted, can't be. Okay. You are a trusted friend. Merry Christmas.
If you
Don't cry.
check your
Don't cry.
if you check your email,
Checking.
Working.
Oh boy.
I sent it to Aaron too, so he can see.
Nice.
Oh, me.
Pretty.
Oh, nice.
I
That's
do-
very cool.
I do love washi tape.
Those 3 rolls seem to be your speed.
Ooh, that purple Zen one order. That's cool with the grapes.
I know, right? Little gold foil guy.
Yeah.
Dates. I'm looking forward to these. I just got my new planner and I'm super excited to start filling it in.
I'm such a dork. I know these are meant to be date tapes, but the first thing I thought was like, oh, look, they're D&D stats for your character sheet.
I mean,
You could probably use them for that
there's
too.
no rule that says you can't.
That's true.
And it's washi tape, so it comes back off.
Oh, that's
So when you
true.
need to update your stat, you can just peel it off and put another one on top.
I don't think I knew that about washi tape.
I mean, it can be a little bit risky on certain types of paper. So, like, for example, my planner uses Tomoe river paper, which is like very, very thin and supposed to be very durable, but washi paper will tear the surface of that. So
Good
you
to
have
know.
to, but like on a regular, like sturdy piece of like copy paper or like on the cover of your binder, very, very removable.
Cool.
Cool.
Free
Yeah, I was-
facts about washi tape for you listeners.
I know. Thank you.
I was hoping against hope that it was going to show up in the mail today at the very least. But meh.
That's all right. We're doing this early, so
This is true.
That's true. That's right.
Also, I blame Lois to Joy.
Yes.
fuck
He's
that guy.
100% the reason why people's packages are late. So
Yep.
why don't you go easy on your carriers right now?
Yeah, tell them what a good job they're doing, for Pete's sake.
Oh yeah, no.
Moderately-
The mailman is like the guy who rings the bell in front of the department store with the for the Salvation Army collection. I'm mad at Salvation Army, not at the guy ringing the bell.
Right.
Right. Also, our mail carrier is amazing. I can always tell when he's on vacation or he had to take a few days off because nothing goes right.
Aw.
He's also super nice. Whenever he leaves a package, he'll always knock just to let us know, like, yeah, I left something there. And if I'm outside, like, working at the table out there, he'll be like, you want this in your mailbox or want me to just leave it here? I'm like, you just leave it there. Okay. He's super nice. He's great.
Meanwhile, if I get like a UPS or a FedEx package, they just throw it in the sort of a breezeway between my house and my garage. They're just like, that's not a front door. Whatever.
Right.
FedEx is the worst.
Well,
I don't know why, but
The worst is DHL.
I was going to say the same
This
thing.
is true.
But they're also international, so they have a lot more
Right.
like hoops to jump through
They
just
do.
to exist.
But every time I order something and I get the thing from Track It with DHL, I'm like, oh no. Oh my God.
I think my planner comes from gets delivered via DHL.
Yeah.
It comes from
I guess they're also
Japan.
the cheapest international, which is probably part of it.
fair.
Yeah.
So I'm going to open Denise's first, but I want to show this to the listeners that these are nearly identical wrapped packages,
Uh-oh.
and I'm going to be terribly amused if they're the same thing.
How would that happen? Denise and I are always in perfect communications at all times.
This is true. So one would think that you had planned this.
I don't know which eventuality is more amusing or more likely.
Either one of them, quite honestly. All right. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. That's a good bow. That's going to be a toy for Manju later.
Love wrapping Christmas presents.
But someone does.
I do like wrapping them. I think it's fun.
This year,
I enjoy
stuff,
doing.
even though most of the gifts I purchased this year were shipped to me, and I could have had just shipped them to the recipient, I actually had them shipped to me so I could wrap them and then ship them to my parents' house.
That makes sense.
Not the smartest move cost-wise, but
That's not why you do it.
Yeah.
no. Yeah, but then at that point, it's like what's done is done.
What has been done here has been done in the ancient times. It cannot be undone. No, I love the wrap presents. Like the more.
It appears to be.
Those are cool.
That's cute. Thank you, Denise.
Yeah.
I, as of yet, don't have any brickheads, so this is exciting.
Oh, cool.
I didn't think you did, and I was like, I hope it's not because he thinks they're dumb.
It's not. It's just it took me a while to get my head around them. And there was also a huge push for them when they first came out. And at the same time, like when we used to carry them at Guardian, we got those and we kept getting Funko Pops, and I just kept equating the two. And I'm like, but over the years, I've been seeing what people are doing with them. And I'm like, these are actually a lot more fascinating than I thought they were.
What do people do with
this
them?
is exciting.
Do they
Just like the things that people will customize to make their own brickheads. Like they actually came out with a set which is a blank brickhead, the basic form of it, and then all kinds of bricks so you could make your own version of yourself as a brickhead.
Oh, that's
I
cool.
saw that once, but like a long time ago.
Yeah. It was about 3 years ago.
That's cool.
In my brain, that is a long time.
3, yeah. Well,
That's a
considering
long
this
time
year
ago.
has been 16 years long.
That's right.
For me,
been
I've got like today, the future, a couple days ago, which can span up to 6 months, and then everything beyond that is just the past.
Nice.
Like you still can't convince me that the 80s were not 20 years ago. I'm like, when like Back to the Future came out or some shit.
Yeah, 40 years ago. The 80s were 40 years ago.
Yes. I've been made aware of that many times lately.
I work with children, so
That's true, you do. Yeah, I never
the
really
staff
think
of
about it that
Guardian
way.
has become a handful of grumpy old men and children.
A lot of twee,
A lot
energetic.
of like everyone in the range of their early to mid 20s and a few 30-year-olds, and then everyone else is like 40 and up.
Right. Wow.
Like Sinclair and I are like looking at 50 next year. So
Whew. That's a heck of a thing.
mm-hmm.
I'm still like reconciling with how different it is to be in your 30s than your 20s, and I'm more than halfway through. So
You are soon entering the late 30s realm, right?
now, and I'll be 37 in 6 months.
I think
So, right.
yeah,
Mhm.
37
That's
is when 37 is when the late 30s moniker starts to kick in.
Oh, okay. Just I'm like, that's fine. Like, you can call me
Yeah.
that whenever. It's
34 to
it's my
36.
body that I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time adjusting with.
Just do everything slower. Start doing the old man. They call it the old man wake up. You roll on your side and push with your arms before you sit up all the way.
I don't have to do anything like that, but basically my first steps are going from my bed to the bathroom, and it's usually this like, oh God, for like 3/4 of the trip, because
How do feet work?
yeah, I get this like crazy sort of pins and needles. It's not like my feet were asleep type of sensation. It's like all my tendons and muscles just cinched up while I slept, and now I have to like stretch them back out just to take normal steps.
They're angry at you being awake.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
And that's just my
Cable,
feet.
Jamie said you opened that package like you were Data in TNG.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's awesome.
I don't think I've seen that particular reference.
It's season. Oh yeah, you've seen it. You might remember. It's season 2, Measure of a Man, when he's going to transfer because they want to take him apart, so they throw him a going away party. That
No,
one.
I don't remember, but I can like mentally picture it. It's like how does this
Yeah.
work?
That also made me wonder in a place where like you can literally create anything you want, why Data felt there was a need to make sure that that paper was reusable. It's literally going to get.
Because one of the writers thought it was funny.
It was funny. I do give him that. It was funny. That's fair.
I could definitely postulate on a lot of like I could come up with a really complex explanation for why, but
Mm-hmm.
the correct answer is yeah, a writer thought it would be funny.
It is funny. Yes. Is it
All
back
right.
to me?
It's back to you.
That means this one's from Bean.
Yeah.
I am such a fan of gift bags, by the way. I just like them aesthetically.
I have a hard time putting gifts in a gift bag. The tissue paper is always like awkward for me. I don't know. I'm much happier wrapping paper around a box.
We'll do a gift bag party one time. I will take you through my gift bag workshop.
Oh.
I maybe have an entire thing that I do, which probably says a lot about me.
I would be fascinated to see that.
Okay, yeah, there's a whole thing involved with it. It's pretty cool.
Well, I think that Bean should get a private lesson in this. This sounds like something that you should put together for your Patreon.
That's a good idea.
That's a good one.
Well, it started because I think like 25 years ago, I learned about there's an entire like Japanese art to wrapping gifts by the number of folds, depending on what kind of gift it's for. And that set me down that path.
The ones that I've seen are like just like really unique ways to wrap a box with gift paper or fabric.
This is really cool.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
those
It looks
are
kind of like
special.
a bone almost, or like a tusk, like a horn.
Those are special from Queen Mab, and now I have to remember.
Because there's pink at the bottom of it, but black at the beginning. So this clearly has to mean something.
This was one of the early ones that I picked up, so now I have to like struggle to remember the details. It didn't come with any. So it's called a Sacred Spirit Pillar Candle. She
Nice.
makes them herself,
Oh, wow.
and it's vegan soy.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well, isn't all soy vegan?
that's a good point. And maybe it just depends on what other aspects of the processing.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much. This is really cool. I'm going to look
Yeah.
up more about it and stuff. More candles for my space. It makes me very happy. Thank you so much.
I'm remembering what it smells like right now.
Oh, is it that nice? Is it really nice?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Look, smell it. It's right there. You have it.
I feel like a lot of the aromas locked into the oils inside it. I actually can't smell anything. Before I need to make a COVID joke, it's not it. I can smell my fucking pumpkin spice latte candle just fine.
All right. Is it back to me?
I think so.
Okay.
Which means now we should be on Aaron's presents.
Yes.
Yay! I might have win a little ribbon and tape happy on that.
Might have.
Come on. Okay. I can deal with knots later. Maybe.
Yeah, be careful tearing into it. It's fragile-esque.
Good girl, Manchu. Manchu approves of your wrapping paper, Denise.
Fantastic. Come on.
We went to the same
Oh.
store.
Wow. We're either getting less creative with each other or we are just really, don't set that on fire. We're just really honed in on each other.
We're really dialing in on each other. Now, you also need to check your email again now.
Oh. So just because I haven't shown it yet, this is an incense making kit.
Ooh.
That one's the transformation kit.
Oh, it does say that.
Yeah.
Now I have to go to my email also.
Mm-hmm. Should be a forwarded email to you.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Oh, super. Online class to learn more about incense making.
Nice.
Yeah. I just figured over the year you were making like different like smudges and satchels and all that stuff. I was like, maybe she wants to make more kind of crafty stuff like that. So
Yeah, actually, that's because if I keep doing that, it seems to be more of a thing for me in the summer and spring when there's, fresh herbs and flowers and stuff.
Yeah.
But if I keep making those kits, it might be nice to be able to like put more things in those kits that I made myself. So
Yeah. So I
Super.
figured that'd be fun.
Thank you, friends.
You're welcome. Yay! I love to give gifts. It's fun.
One of my favorite things. All right. You ready, Cable?
There we go.
Right, moment of truth.
The tension's killing me.
Oh, don't you already know?
Yeah, but I'm trying to maintain the facade for the show.
I see.
He's opening it like Data again.
This is just how I unwrap presents.
I'm gonna do the Pulaski. I'm like, Data, you're just supposed to tear it.
I very rarely tear wrapping paper.
I very rarely do either.
I never reuse it because it's got tape and stuff on it, and it's not recyclable. So I don't know. I don't know why.
I think you can buy recyclable wrapping paper.
I
now.
think it's
You
it's
can
a
now,
learned
but-
behavior that we pick up from somewhere.
If you come from a family or a culture of have not.
Yes. So
My mom reused every single wrapping paper that showed up.
yeah, I get that. So again, proving the point that Aaron and Denise might be a little too in sync.
No, but wait, that one's got Mando on that side. Oh, I was trying something else.
Oh boy.
Oh, that's awkward.
So here's the funny thing, Cable, is we both wanted to get you different things, but Legos are like sold out everywhere.
Yes,
Everywhere.
yes, they are.
That were within the agreed upon budget that we set for ourselves.
Oh, I'm aware that they are sold out everywhere.
Oh, pretty being the Rebian.
It's not worth
Yeah,
it.
there was actually a set that I would, if it was another year and people were more flush, I wouldn't have cared, because I think about a month ago, Disney gave Lego permission to sell all of the in-park exclusive sets to stores because no one's shopping in the park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like the troop transport that you ride in Rise of the Resistance has a Lego set, and it just became available to purchase.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a couple things that were park exclusives, but Disney's like, well, ain't no one shopping in our parks for the foreseeable future, so open them up to everyone. Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah, same reason you can buy all of the, not the ones you build, but all of the sabers that they sell in Galaxy's Edge. So like, yeah. So you can buy those off their website now too. So
Good to know.
but you mentioned that people modify their brickheads. You could make a Boba or a
I could.
Sabine.
Mm-hmm.
So we did discuss it. We figured it out, like a day early, I guess. And we both have receipts, and we're like, well, if he wants to, we can return one of them and find something else. And Aaron's like, maybe he'll just want to keep them both and do something special.
I've tried to explain this to people over the years because because family always goes, well, what do you want for Christmas? I'm like, I want Lego. They're like,
Which one?
I'm like, yes. They're like, well, we don't want to get you something you already have. It's like, do you not understand how Lego works?
That's true.
Just build whatever the hell you want.
That's true. By the way, I want to share a couple things that are going on in the chat while we've been
I know they're
unwrapping and
jumping
talking.
away right now. It's cool.
Bex says that they feel like a lot of gift giving this year has been just a good version of Ding Dong Ditch. And I think that's pretty
What's
accurate.
that?
Where like you ring someone's bell and then run
Yes.
away. So
Yeah.
that
Oh, okay.
do they not have that in the backwoods of California?
They do.
They do. It
There's
had
nowhere to
more,
run to quickly enough.
It had a much more repellent name.
Do we want to know?
No.
Okay.
No. Nope.
Okay. Is it
I never
racist?
played it, but it had a much more repellent and racially charged name.
Very well.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I think I know what it is.
Yep.
But it could just be like a weird mixing of memory stuff. Tara
But yeah, it
says
is true.
that her uncle used to wrap gifts in garbage bags. But that
Like the
reminds me that I
plastic?
used to really love. I always used to like it when people would wrap a gift in the Sunday comics.
Oh, that's cool.
Back when people used to get newspapers.
I went through a phase where I wanted to wrap all my presents in turned inside out paper grocery bags. And I would make them look like old timey rustic, like D&D gifts. So like they were just brown paper, and then I would decorate it with like twigs and pieces of bone and like feathers and stuff like that. I went through that kind of really nerdy wrapping paper phase.
I like brown wrapping paper for general gifts, and in more creative / like energetic times, I like just go balls to the wall decorating the paper itself, like with stickers and doodles.
I used black wrapping paper one year, then only used like red and silver ribbons, and it was pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, cool. That was
Thanks,
fun.
you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
Wait, I could light this candle now, I think.
You could.
You could. And we can enjoy it through smell-o-vision.
That's right. The same way she was going to hand me a knife. Thank goodness for an empty can.
Which science fiction show do we want to jump into first?
My instincts tell me Discovery, because even though it's a two-parter, I feel like The Mandalorian is going to be the one where we go on super tangents. So that's my thoughts.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We have an accord.
We have an accord. All right. So if you haven't seen Star Trek Discovery for the past 2 weeks, now is the time to either leave the YouTube or stop the podcast, because we're going to talk about Star Trek Discovery Terra Firma Parts 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean, the quick recap of it is the Discovery finds out the signal that potentially leads to the burn is in the middle of a nebula, but Georgiou is literally dying at a subatomic level, and they need to fix her. And they find a planet that is the source of that could find the cure. But it's not quite just that. It's actually a trip to the mirror universe. And really, both episodes were, 90% mirror universe shenanigans?
I feel like it was more 70%.
Right, yeah.
70, 75.
Okay.
So it felt like it was a full episode of Mirror Universe and a full episode of Discovery, but one was shorter than the other. So like the Mirror Universe episode was 70 minutes long, and the Discovery episode was like 50 minutes long, 45.
Yeah, it's weird that the overarching main plot of the series was basically the B plot of this two-parter kind of thing.
Which is funny because it's, sort of the key arc for the whole season.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the signal and what it means.
I think it's no secret that the goal of this episode was to find a way to move Michelle Yeoh off of Discovery proper,
right,
and put her back into the Star Trek universe in a time period where she could be, so that they can do the Section 31 television show that she's contracted to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think you called it, Cable. What was physically wrong with her was the manifestation of the fact that she was far from home in two ways, in both time and space.
That was when we get to see David Cronenberg, who is now my favorite Star Trek character.
Did you read the interview? They interviewed him like last week about what he thinks about his role in Trek and his part in the story. He's basically like, I really have no idea what I'm doing here or what the story is. This is just an interesting character to play, and I'm playing him. They're like, you're in Star Trek, right? He's like, well, I'm aware of that part, but I really don't know my place in it. It's a very
Man.
Cronenberg answer.
Yeah, that is very David Cronenberg.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed today, I hadn't made the connection before, but his name is Kovich.
Is that what the character's name is? I don't
Mhm.
remember.
And it made me think of Danny Kovich, I believe his name was, from Altered Carbon.
Oh, Kovac.
Kovach. Okay, not the same.
Yeah.
That was all. That doesn't go anywhere. I'm sorry.
Very well.
Just
Still need to watch the second season of Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
I struggled through it. I was way, way less invested.
That's fair.
So, yeah, this, and I think I didn't dislike the episodes, but for me personally, it felt like a lot of wasted narrative time. I kind of knew the point of it was so that we could get Michelle Yeoh back so she could have her own show. And when your season's only, 16, 18 episodes a season or whatever?
14, I believe.
14?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to devote to something that doesn't move the story along for me. And that was my big issue with it. It just felt like, wow, you guys ate up so much time. I hope that doesn't mean you're going to rush like the season now narratively.
Interesting. Because I was sort of the opinion that, like, you know what? Everyone enjoys a good Mirror Universe episode, even if it doesn't necessarily add to, whatever the higher arc of what's happening
Right.
is. And I especially enjoyed in the season 1 Mirror Universe stuff. There's no Burnham; she's already gone.
Right.
That the Mirror Burnham, and so this was a chance for Sonequa to get to play a different version of her same character that she hasn't had an opportunity to before.
I hadn't thought about that. That's a very good point.
I started thinking about it during my rewatch because she is chewing up some of that dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
In some of those scenes, she is just like her acting. It implies that the character is going a little bit mad even before all of the agonizer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was wrong. It's 13 episodes, so there are only 3 episodes left.
There's 3 episodes left.
Yep.
Ooh. All right.
Which I think that's why I kind of believe that we're not going to get a complete closure with this season. I think there's still going to be stuff that carries into season 14 or
you
season
think this
4.
is the first time Disco does the to be continued?
Maybe.
Which is kind of shitty because it's going to take them a lot longer to crank out season 4 now.
I mean,
Oh no, they said they're filming it right now.
Yeah.
Anthony Rapp has mentioned they're filming now. So okay, maybe it won't be that.
technically
long,
season 2 ends on a cliffhanger. Just because they don't say to be continued at the end of the last episode of a season doesn't make
That's
it any
true.
less of a cliffhanger.
I think they had also written it that way in case they weren't coming back for season 3.
They knew pretty early on they were getting a season 3.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Because it also felt like that, maybe they're not. Maybe someone changed their mind.
Yeah. No, from everything I've read, CBS is very happy with Discovery. They're happy with all of their Trek content right now. As much as the, like hater fandoms out there love to create stories that CBS is secretly angry at all things Trek and they want to fire everyone. Like, no, they're not. You just are making up bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I think that CBS and Paramount are also looking at what is going on with Star Wars on Disney Plus and going, yeah, we need to go ahead and do that with Star Trek. We actually have the franchise to do that with.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember thinking that probably right around when they announced Picard, because that's when they announced a whole bunch of shows. And I was like, oh, look, someone at CBS or Paramount finally realized that they also have one of the longest running sci-fi franchises in the fucking history of show business.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just imagine like executives at Paramount or CBS like, man, Disney's got Star Wars. What we need is we need our own Star Wars, our own brand to attach multiple shows to. If only we had that. And here's the track people like, hey, I mean, hello.
We are literally right here.
You're right. But yeah, as for the episode, like, don't get me wrong, like watching all of those actors just freaking chew the scenery as their mirror universe counterparts is fun to watch. So the mirror universe to me has kind of become this thing where I will almost always have fun watching the performers, but story-wise, they always leave me flat because I feel like they rarely have an impact
On the greater
grand
storyline.
Yeah.
I think that's true of the two-parter that they did in the last season of Enterprise. I would have much preferred 2 more episodes of furthering the creation of the Federation. Instead, we got 2 episodes of setting the mirror universe.
Right, which is a blast. It's fun to watch.
It is a lot of fun, and it ended up providing new continuity that was then carried through in Discovery. Like part of the whole reason that Giorgio is the emperor there leads right back to Hoshi Sato.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I can agree that technically speaking, we spent a little too much time in an arena that didn't develop the story, to get us to the finale, well fleshed out. But I think that Giorgio was an important character for the Discovery series, even though she's leaving. And, Michelle Yeoh is such an icon that it was really, really great to just like really give her this time to flesh out this character. You've got all this buildup in the earlier parts of the season where she's almost like over the top bad guy Emperor Giorgio. And in reaction to the fact that she doesn't know what's happening to her. And now that she has a little bit of context and all of a sudden she's back where she used to belong, just this revelation of how much she has changed, and then her desire to bring Michael with her into that new type of self. They really, really established. I thought it was some really beautiful writing, that monologue that they have that ends with the Firefly story. Just all of this concept of like, I've seen a better world, a different way that we can live, and I want you to see it with me. And then ultimately that doesn't work out, which like adds to the heartbreak of it all. I thought that it was really, really good writing, and even though it's like a little bit meta, I think that that writing is for us. It's for the overall message of the show.
Sure.
This is who we are now here as part of the Terran Empire, but I've seen that we can be different.
Which
right.
I agree with all of that, and I think that helped dispel. Like Giorgio has spent the better part of the past season and a half of Discovery reminding Michael how much she is not her Michael. Because it's like, my Michael was much better. She figured this out. She would always do this. And upon seeing her again and reliving those experiences, it's like, I think I'm wrong. I think I've been looking through the lens of nostalgia based around whatever passes for guilt for a Terran of having to kill her. And now it's like, oh, I've been wrong this whole time. As much as I want this, like, you to be the Michael that exists in my head, I think the one from the Prime universe is closer to what I think Michael should be.
Right.
Damn it. And now I'm going to have to go admit that to her.
Well, and it allows her to realize how much she has changed. Because she spent the last however many weeks just like threatening to tear people's guts out for, like looking at her the wrong way. And then the moment she's back where she thought she belonged, she's too soft.
Right.
I didn't think she was soft. I did think that she was more. She stopped being a hammer and started being a scalpel.
I'm when I say too soft, I mean like she is looked at
Sure.
that way.
Right. That's the perception.
Right. No,
Right?
no, I think that she was very, very adhered in her conviction that she knew the right way to move the Terran Empire forward.
Right. It does also, from like a total nerdy like canon side, it actually changes damn near all we know about the Terran Empire after TOS. Because in Terra Firma, they crush the early Klingon, Cardassian, Bajoran alliance, which means they're not around to pick up the pieces when Spock begins to implement changes in the Terran Empire in Mirror. Because that's what leads to chaos that allows that coalition to rise up. That's now been crushed. So, not saying that they're ever going to revisit that, but that's just something fun to do, like a mental thing of like, oh, what happens to the Terran Empire now?
I think that's what would have happened to the Terran Empire if what the Guardian showed her was reality.
Oh, so you don't think what he showed her was actually real?
No.
It was all just a Guardian
simulation.
Okay.
It was so that she could be Let's talk about that real quick before moving on, because we have to acknowledge, number one, that Aaron called it and is 100% right on this. And that Paul Guilfoyle was playing who?
The Guardian of Forever.
So we looked it up. They used the same piece of audio from the original TOS episode.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
In that was a really cool scene, by the way.
Oh, I screamed pretty loud when like my instincts were still like it's the Guardian of Forever and we're gonna get that reveal, but yeah, when they used the voice, I was like, yeah, it's a total nerd moment for me. That does raise a weird question though. That means the Guardian of Forever can move.
Yep.
I mean, he is forever.
But it was
to be the Guardian of Forever, you have to exist in all times. So
I guess that's true. It was implied that he was hidden when the Enterprise finds him in TOS. I do love that little throwaway, not even throwaway line, but that little line where the Guardian acknowledges that it's the reason there was a temporal war. Once word got out that you could go anytime you wanted, it was oh well crap, I have to stop them from doing this now.
And I like how that also tied into the continuing backstory of the sphere data merging with Discovery.
Yeah.
And becoming a new form of AI, because it's like that's the only way. It's like this database isn't complete and this database isn't complete, but you also add into it this 10,000-year-old data collection sphere that we took away. Once all unified, they're like, oh yeah, it's right over here. That's where the Guardian is.
Right.
Norm points out that maybe the Guardian of Forever is actually an Iconian, and so then technically he is a version of the Gates, the Iconian Gates.
Yeah, Iconians traveled space, not time. That was their thing. They could go anywhere in space, but they couldn't go anywhere in different times.
Yeah, I always got the impression from TOS that those were two different races. That there are clearly like 3 or 4 superpowered races that the Enterprise came into contact with, like the Icosians, the Guardian of Forever, the Organians.
They all still have one thing in common.
They're all dicks.
They're all smug dicks.
The Guardian wasn't.
He was very cagey though, and like he was just like really impossible to talk to.
You mean the Discovery one, or when they first found him?
The Discovery one. I would have to rewatch the World on the Edge of Forever to.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, Trevor. He's very much. It's just very matter of factly. They're like, "What are you?" He's like, "I am the Guardian of Forever." What do you do? He was basically like,
I'm the guardian.
I'm
This
I'm
is
the guardian.
forever.
That is smug. He's talking to just like a simple human. Like, explain it like I'm 4 because I don't know any of this.
He
And
was actually explaining
and
it to
he's-
Spock, who got it. Because the Guardian said, like, I can show you anytime, anywhere. That's what I do. And Spock's
I'm gonna
like,
go
oh,
back.
fascinating.
I'm gonna go back to watch that episode and or listen to our conversation about it and see how I felt about it. Because you could be everyone knows at this point. I think all of these super intelligent space beings are all assholes.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. They usually are.
That's because they are.
Yeah. Well, are there Organians? Well, once you watch the Enterprise episode, yeah, the Organians are assholes. When they're willing to like, all right, let's see if this. Yeah, they're assholes. That's true.
What was the name of the race of beings that from Arena that pit the Gorn
Metrons.
Cap, the Metrons?
Yeah.
Thanks.
We are the Metrons.
Which I'm just now realizing. So that's why they picked what they looked like, because it's a variation of Metatron.
Yeah, that's why it looks like a weird blonde cherub
Angel. Yeah. Okay.
angel. Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, I know. I thought that too because it's very sounds very similar to I am the Metatron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who in the Bible looks nothing like Alan Rickman. He's got like thousands of eyes and like a shit ton of wings and is terrifying.
Well, I mean, angels don't look anything like that either. So.
Yeah, no. All angels are terrifying if you actually like read how they're described.
So something else that I've been struggling with from these episodes is the whole situation with Ariam and Nielsen. Now, maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, or I forgot a crucial detail that would have made this make sense to me. But what I thought had happened was the actress who played Lieutenant Ariam, when that character was killed off, they brought that actress back as Nielsen.
The season 2 actress that was playing Ariam is now playing Lieutenant Nielsen. The season 1 actress that was playing Ariam is only shown in the flashback sequence in season 2 when we see her as human.
Okay, because I've been like trying to like line them up, because there's 2 actresses.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it seems like Sarah Mittich is
The original Ariam.
well, she's also Nielsen now.
Okay, so she's the second Ariam. She was brought in to just be Ariam in the background for season 2 because they were going to kill her off as part of the story. And I believe the actress from season 1 had other commitments or could not.
Yeah,
I don't remember if it was a makeup or it was another job or something happened where she could not continue on. So they're like, okay, we just need someone to be Ariam in the background, and then we'll do this episode.
And
but they also
Hannah,
yeah.
Hannah Cheeseman, I think her name is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what's funny is there's an interview where Hannah talks about, how they wrote the character out and, her departure from the cast. I didn't have time to read it. I think maybe that's where I got really thrown off, is if Hannah, the actress, went away and then Sarah was brought in, and that's why the credits are outlined the way they are.
Right. And I'm going off like third-hand information in articles too, so there are details that I could be getting wrong as well.
But they got to be in a scene together.
Mm-hmm. I do appreciate that the mirror universe versions of these characters, Ariam and Detmer, neither one of them, no cybernetics. So whatever happened to them in the Prime universe did not happen in the Terran universe.
Right.
Go ahead.
I don't think a cybernetic Ariam would exist in the Terran Empire because of the xenophobia.
Well, and I would also say like requiring cybernetics would be seen as some form of weakness. So why even let you continue to exist?
Exactly. Both of those things.
Unless you're getting like badass cybernetic. I got a cybernetic arm, but it's a gun. Maybe.
Mhm.
Right. Also, they really I don't know if that I've had fun with it is the right way of putting it, but like you said, Cable, Detmer has no cybernetic prostheses in the Terran in the Mirror Universe, but there is a scene where there's like an explosion and you only see her from behind. She falls down, and then they like really take their time with revealing her face, so you're like waiting to see if she comes out with the same damage to her face
Mm-hmm.
that results in the Prime Universe prosthetics. But then
Right.
they never did. She was fine.
Yeah. But it's fun. I definitely want to. It did make me curious. It does make me interested in the inevitable. Not. I don't mean in a bad way, but the pending Section 31 show. And also makes me wonder if the Section 31 show is not going to just deal with the era that Giorgio is sent back to. I wonder if they are going to be behind the scenes fixing holes in time that the temporal Cold War did.
Could be.
Because
so
they
she's
flat out
a legend.
and they have flat out Star Trek's versions of Legends of Tomorrow. That actually I would watch the shit out of that. I'm going to anyway. Well, because they have flat out acknowledged the Kelvin timeline in Terra Firma Part 1.
How so?
When David Cronenberg's character is talking with Culper and Giorgio, they bring up that one alien or what non-human who is in a TNG show era uniform, because they're talking about the last time we saw an example this bad was this guy when he wound himself traveling through time and in different dimensions, one where Vulcan had been destroyed by a rogue Romulan going back in time.
Oh, I missed that part of the dialogue.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
a
that went
quick
right
little
over my
nod
head.
to acknowledging the Kelvin timeline,
All right.
which CBS Publishing is bringing back. So I have a weird feeling they're not done with the Kelvin timeline, one way or another.
I always hope not.
I like the story opportunities with the Kelvin timeline. It lets you play with the familiar and then tweak it. So
You're fine with it as long as J.J. Abrams isn't involved.
fuck you, 100%. Which is why Star Trek Beyond is the best of all of those.
Mm-hmm. It should be noted that Terra Firma both episodes were written by Bo-Yeon Kim and Erica Lippold. They are executive producers on most of season 3 and writers from season 2. They are the showrunners for Section 31.
Yeah.
So this will be a Asian-led and Asian-run Star Trek series.
Yeah.
Which I am kind of fascinated with, especially in light of other news from another universe in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a transition.
That's what I'm trying for. That
All
we learned
right.
about from this last week's
Let's do
season
it.
finale of The Mandalorian.
Nice.
This guy right here with his spear.
Also, man, speaking also like of Bo-Yeon Kim, like I feel like no one heard about her, and then she was everywhere.
So I listened to an interview with her and her writing partner.
Mhm.
Yes.
They got hired on as basically like third tier writers in the writers room because they got discovered for their work on CW's Reign, which is a historical fiction drama.
Yeah.
And that was a job that they got right out of school.
They got into the two of them got into Trek through Deep Space Nine. They were both fans of Deep Space Nine, and I forget exactly how they met. I believe it was in college, and they just started writing together. Bo-Yeon Kim, I believe, is still a Korean national. So she was studying in the States, and then they've they just stayed friends and kept writing together. There's a on another podcast that I listen to. This is how I found out about most of this. The podcast All the Asians on Star Trek, it's done by Phil Yu. He talks to both of them, and they talked about their entire run on Discovery and hinted at but never gave away what they were going to do in this particular season of Discovery in order to get Michelle Yeoh into Section 31.
Right.
So it's worth a listen. Like it.
Check it out.
I'm a big fan of this show. I'm glad that Phil Yu is doing it, and it is definitely a great show to listen to if you are any sort of Trekkie.
Nice. I'll check it out.
His last episode of the season was with Rosalind Chow.
Oh, nice. Cool. Well, should we jump into Mando now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been listening to that show, and it's really, really good, Cable. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
More Trek podcasts, so I will check it out. All right. So, look at all the things happen in episode 16, chapter 16, The Sacrifice. Which is funny. I remember when they released that title, because there's a track, as always happens with Star Wars, someone finds the track listing of the music and spoils something.
Oh, of course they do.
So on one of the Star Wars music Reddits, someone said, "Hey, I have the track listing for chapter 16, and one of the last tracks is called The Sacrifice." So they're like, "Oh God, who dies?" And there was all these like, who could die in The Mandalorian and keep it a good show? And I was like, sacrifice doesn't always mean death.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, guys. Like, yeah, no, just stop it.
For everyone who hasn't watched it, the synopsis of this episode is that the Mando puts together his team, goes after to rescue the child. Chaos ensues.
For the record, I assumed that by the sacrifice they mean the sacrifice that Din has to make.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I saw it also. Yeah, once I saw the episode, I was like, no, that's the sacrifice.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, especially given what we learned from the previous episode.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that he goes through with Mayfield and his conversations with Mayfield.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, Mayfield was exactly right. It's like he had moved on from his creed to what are you willing to do?
Right.
For this one thing.
I saw this great piece of art where it's Din and he's back in front of the armorer, and she asks, were you successful in your mission? And he says, yes. And the armorer says, and what did it cost you? And then the last panel is just like his silhouette, and the full panel is taken up by the word everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was really good. Although, what's Bill Burr's character's called again? What's his name? It's from the last episode.
Oh, Mayfield.
So it's been edited now, but Mayfield's Wikipedia entry for like an hour or so. On the side it lists like the character, like where they're from, and on the home planet, if someone wrote Planet Boston.
Space Boston.
I was like, oh, well played, internet. Sometimes you're good.
Yep.
So yeah, this one is, we got to see the Dark Troopers unleashed.
Mm-hmm.
And they apparently are operated by dubstep, which was kind of cool sounding. I never thought I want dubstep in Star Wars, but I'm good with it now. They looked a little Cylon-y for me, to where in my head I'm like, this has all happened before and will happen again.
I saw you post that meme.
Yeah. I loved the 4 women storming the bridge of that carrier.
I think that is the one element that has been getting overshadowed as incredibly cool.
Really? I guess. Well, okay.
I hear more from everybody about like the two things at the end. It's like those two big things.
No,
But,
I think that's valid. I noticed it, but I didn't talk about it online or anything.
Yeah, I think
I also just don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
We watched it now. We watched it with Matthew, so it was Merrick, Matthew, and I all watching it together, and we all just kind of went, "Is this an all-woman strike team taking down an Imperial freighter?" Yes, it is. That's exactly what's going on right now.
People should be talking more about it. I have this weird thought as to why I think it's not spoken about more. And I think it's that this series, since it started, has woven women and people of color into the story itself. But they also haven't been like, look what we did, look what we did. It just was part of this narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So that by the time you get to 4 women storming an Imperial cruiser, even like the most, well, I can't say even the most, but even the most like cynical a fan can be like, oh, look, they're trying to be woke, because you've seen this built up.
Yeah.
So Favreau, Filoni, and Kathleen Kennedy have created a universe where it does, in a way, reflect what the real world looks like. And unlike, even though I love that shot in Avengers Endgame, when all the women superheroes are all in that one shot, it didn't feel earned. It was cool.
But it was intentional.
It was
like
intentional.
Look at all our ladies.
Yeah, whereas this one, it was just like, no, these are all just allies or comrades of Jin, of him. And this is what they do. So yes, it should be talked about, definitely, and like celebrated. I think the way they told that story shows how you can have integrated and diverse casts without. I'm trying to find a way. I don't want to say without making a statement, because it is a statement. The act of doing it is a statement.
You can do it without it being pandering.
Yeah, there's a way to do it that is performative, and then there's a way to do it that is just like, this is the diaspora that we live in. It's not even worth mentioning because it just is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's how they pull it off in this one. And I think that is super smart and is a good way to go just forward in general with our storytelling. I do hope they recast Cara Dune, but that's a whole thing.
Yes, there is that. Did either of you hear about the thing on Twitter that happened regarding this?
No.
So a woman who is an actress puts up on Twitter, it's like, oh my God, Dave Filoni, this was fantastic. I was really like seeing these 4 women, kicking ass and just being awesome in the Star Wars universe. This was fantastic. And men came out of the woodwork going, who the fuck are you to be saying any of this? Why are you even commenting on this? She's like, look at my IMDb credits. I'm Hera fucking Syndulla. And it was Hera Syndulla, the actress that plays Hera Syndulla. Which I'll also point out, if you look at her IMDb credits, it's like, oh, you were cast to play the character, and then they drew it. They animated Hera Syndulla off of this actress because this actress looks like she should just be painted green and have Leaku stuck on her head.
Right.
And she's good to go. So if we don't see Hera Syndulla in the Ahsoka television series, I will be very surprised.
Yeah, I don't know how we don't.
What is the actress's name?
That I don't remember.
Although speaking of actresses, though, I if they do recast Cara Dune, which I kind of feel like they need to, I feel like filming will work out just fine, because I don't think we're going to see Cara again until Rangers of the New Republic, which when they start filming that, if I'm correct in the timeline, the actress Frankie Adams will be done with The Expanse, and she would make an amazing Cara Dune. She plays Bobby Draper in The Expanse.
Noted.
In real life, she's 5'7", Samoan model that turned kickboxer that then became an actor. She will wreck you, and she's a better actor than what's her name.
She can also voice act, right? That's not her real voice in The Expanse.
I don't think so.
Because that's like
It's
That's
a
like a
slight
Kiwi
southern.
accent.
Well, she grew up in New Zealand, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's what am I thinking of then?
Well, it's weird because I think in the book she's supposed to have a slight southern accent because all Martians do.
Right. Mars is space Texas.
Yeah.
Something
I
for
know.
you to look forward to, Cable.
Mars is
Well,
space Texas.
The whole
Got it.
idea being is that the first people who colonized Mars were that rugged, like, and they began to affect the southern accent to sound like they were frontiersmen. Like, and that's if enough of you start talking that way, your entire planet begins to sound like that. That's what happens.
And yeah, Cable, you beat me to the share. Her the actress's name is Vanessa Marshall. Mm-mm. And there is in fact already. Oh no, that's someone did fan art of Amelia Clark as Hera Syndulla.
No. I mean,
It's
I
cute,
like
but
Amelia Clark is a fine person, but no, absolutely
she's
not.
doing rom-coms now anyway, so.
I'm also sending you a couple others.
Also,
because
I feel like Amelia Clark would be too young to play
She
Syndulla by the
is.
time we get to The Mandalorian.
Mhm.
Yes, that would also be.
Yeah.
I don't think this was specifically having to do with The Mandalorian. It's just somebody's Star Wars fan art.
Right.
Put that in the chat for everyone who.
So the other two links that I just sent to you two are the IMDb pages for Tia Sircar and Taylor Gray, who played Sabine Wren and Ezra Bridger, respectively, who also still look like their animated counterparts.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yes. Yeah, they like I didn't know this. Matthew was the one that pointed it out, and I started looking them up, and I'm like, oh, well, they're all the right ages to play those characters in a live action series. I feel like Dave Filoni has been playing a long game that none of us were aware of.
I think so as well. Yes.
Tia was in The Good Place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see these
Yeah.
people taking up.
So there's definitely a lot of places that performers could go.
Mm-hmm.
But as
Although,
for the
man,
episode
that just
itself,
makes me feel bad for Ashley Eckstein again.
Yeah, I would like to see her show up somewhere in Ahsoka,
she could.
even as a background character. Apparently, D. Bradley Baker's already been on the show on Mandalorian.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So they've been finding places for some of these voice actors to work.
Oh yeah,
within
this
the framework.
kid for sure.
Also,
Absolutely,
I
this
think
kid.
we'll see them show up a lot.
He's probably my age, Taylor Gray.
But yeah, the two big things, of course, were like on my list of force sensitive users or force users that I thought were going to show up
Yeah.
to save Grogu. I think I just automatically went, yeah, it'll never be him, because how would they do that?
That's
And then they did that.
that was me too, but it wasn't how would they do that? Part of me's like, it's such the obvious choice that Favreau's not going to do it. Not saying that he's like M. Night Shyamalan in terms of liking twists. I said, but there is the friggin' obvious choice, and then there's the 500-pound, like, of course it's going to be. I was like, he's not going to play it that way. Just I don't see him doing that. And then when the X-Wing shows up, I'm like, God, you did do it. And now I realize that I want that.
I
Now
mean,
if it's not Luke, I'm going to be pissed, you know?
I think they decided that like it seemed so obvious that no one would believe they would do it.
Yeah, right.
That
And
was
then they
definitely
just
where I
just
was at.
leaned into it.
Yeah.
I'm not, my memory is so crappy that I actually spent the whole buildup where they're like basically telling you without telling you. The X-Wing, the green saber, all of that. I'm like, oh my God, I can't process this information. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And then
I was like,
the
oh,
longer
Black
it
Love.
goes, like the more you think you know. And I'm like, it's coming, here it comes. Oh, here it is.
To me, the X-Wing was not the giveaway. When the X-Wing shows up, I'm like, oh yes, here it is. Rogue Squadron coming to save the day. No, wait, it's only one. Why is there only one X-Wing? Wait a
okay.
minute.
Right.
Wait a minute. And then it was the lightsaber. I'm like, but that's not, that can't be right. And then they show it's green and it's one gloved hand. It's like,
Yeah.
oh no. I think I looked at Merrick in the middle of this. I'm like, are they actually doing this?
And recreated almost every shot from the end of Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
The way Luke takes out the Dark Troopers is very similar to Vader's rampage at the end of Rogue One.
It's apparently also shot for shot of something from Clone Wars of Anakin taking out an entire platoon of droids.
I have to rewatch Clone Wars. Oh, wait.
So much Clone Wars.
One thing I really liked about that scene with Luke, I'm going to go a little veer here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my brain went. That scene with Luke actually made Rian Johnson's choice for Luke in The Last Jedi click even more for me. Because in The Mandalorian, we see him now, Luke is like at the peak of his power almost.
Mm-hmm.
He is the last Jedi master. He has taken out the Emperor. He is responsible for the fall of the Empire. I know he'll never take it all the way, but like the galaxy now sees him. He is the Luke Skywalker. And when I watch that scene, he takes out those dark troopers with like ruthless efficiency, but more brutal than he had to. He could have just sabered them all.
Mm-hmm.
There are times where he's throwing them. The one he just crushes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's with the gloved hand. He just crushes it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, this is where Luke is realizing that, yes, I avoided the lure of the dark side last time, but just by this much. And I'm now realizing that I am Anakin's son. And that anger that is in us is in me. And I can see that planting the seed in him, being like, one day I have to be taken out of the equation. I will become the danger that I fought against my whole life. I have to go away. And I feel like that scene in my head, that's the first thing that's the kernel, that's the little seed that starts that little voice in his head that tells him one day he can't do it anymore. He has to go away.
So I
Sorry,
just
I got a little deep on it.
No, that's fine. I'm just over here blowing my own mind, getting my mind blown.
These things happen.
So after I watched the episode, I must have had to do something and like walk away. I forgot to ever go back and check who the actor was.
Mm-hmm.
Did not put it together.
Yeah, with him.
I know he did the tweet, the next day, but I did not make the connection. I had no idea it was Mark Hamill.
There was an actor who did the fight scenes, and he's listed as the Jedi. But
once he takes his cloak off, his hood off, that's fucking Mark Hamill.
It's a digitally altered Mark Hamill.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine what it took to keep that shit secret for that long?
I mean, Mark Hamill's a professional.
But I mean that entire set. Granted, I'm sure they were NDA'd within an inch of their life.
I mean, they all are.
Yeah, but it's just hard to imagine. Like, yeah, I get it. I still find it very impressive that they managed to keep that a secret until it aired.
Mm.
I think that's an impressive kind of production thing that they pulled off.
I think that the cast, the actors that they bring in, even when it's only like for onesie twosies, they've got pedigree. They are experienced professional actors.
Right. No,
and also they are all NDA'd,
Yeah, I already mean that. I mean like some like PA that was on the set was an NDA, and then like a month or so later gets drunk. Was like, oh guys, you have no idea who I was on the set with. Well, who? Oh shit, I shouldn't have said anything. That's what I don't mean the key players. The above.
You mean like everybody else?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to imagine that like Kathleen Kennedy pulls them all into a room and says, if this is revealed before Mark Hamill takes his hood off, I am going to have to destroy all of you. And I'm Kathleen Kennedy and I can. So just know I will, like gangster stuff. I will not only kill you, I will remove your family and your entire line will cease to exist. So stay quiet.
Yep. I am Kathleen Kennedy. I can make this happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I had someone ask me, they were watching the gallery, and they're like, yeah, I recognized everybody in the interviews and this and this. And then there was this one woman, I don't recognize her at all. I'm like, oh, that's Kathleen Kennedy. She's the reason we have Star Wars. And they're like, what? Like, no, she shepherded everything.
In everything.
Like she's the reason that we still have Star Wars.
She's also why you have Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
She's also going to be the reason we'll have Indiana Jones again.
Mm-hmm.
She's been involved. You go into her IMDb, and it is almost ridiculous what she has been the EP on. It's her first movie was Alive in 1993, and there hasn't been a year where she was not producing 2 or 3 movies. I do believe.
No, hold on. I'm on her IMDb, and it says her first production credit was E.T. in 1982.
Yeah, I'm going. I didn't scroll down long enough. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the thing is, like, she's somebody who's been around for a really, really long time, but she's never had any spotlight on her until what, like a decade ago?
Until Star Wars fans wanted somebody to blame when they weren't happy with where the franchise was going.
Yep.
How's that working out?
Yeah, never. Yeah.
They're still going to do that. Like,
Oh
but
yeah.
Oh, that's right. You were one of you guys was talking about how fanboys are basically like rooting for her to be fired and be replaced by Filoni and Favreau.
Yeah, that was me going off on somebody.
And it's exactly
What?
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, that doesn't make sense. They are here to direct. She is here to EP.
And the comment was like, just keep Kathleen Kennedy away from the Mandalorian and Star Wars. I'm like, she's the reason you have the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
None of these shows happen without her approval. Her talent is knowing talent and being a producer. And even beyond just that sexist comment of people, the last thing you want is Favreau or Filoni to become the EPs, because then they stop working on the show. That's a full-time gig all by itself.
I mean, they are EPs, but they're not.
Not her end.
No.
She runs a literal empire.
I don't think people understand what producers do. Like, I think it's similar to, like, I don't think people understand what CEOs do. Now, granted, I'm not going to get into the whole discussion of CEOs also don't deserve the extraordinary amount of pay that they
That's a
get.
whole thing.
Yeah. Like 10 times the amount of the bottom line worker, that makes sense. 1,000 times more is a fucking crime.
Yeah.
But like, they don't know what producers do. It's like, oh,
There's a lot of flavors.
like, oh, that just means you provide money. I'm like, that's not what that means.
That's not what that means.
An actor can have producer credits, but not necessarily have a lot of creative input.
There are producers that are just money people. She's not one of them.
Right.
I love that she has one acting credit. It is uncredited. She's a backup dancer in Anything Goes at the beginning of Temple of Doom.
Nice.
Oh, I'm going to go back and watch that.
Now I want to go look for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for her to show up somewhere in the background of one of these Star Wars shows. Or maybe knowing her though, she's probably savvy enough to be like, look, I know, I appreciate you want to give me a cameo. It'd be fun. Don't put me in front of the camera on a Star Wars show. Otherwise, that's all people will talk about and they'll hate the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm there.
That is not necessarily true. Stephen King cameos in every single one of his movies.
But Stephen King isn't loathed by a section of fans that just think that she is all the reasons why it's not their Star Wars anymore.
Those guys can eat a bag.
Of course.
Yeah, it's whatever. I mean, like, you can not like her if you want, but to root against her is to do yourself a disservice.
Well, I'm sure when I was a younger fanboy and didn't understand as much about these things as I do now. Like, I would have gone, oh, yeah, this must be Kathleen Kennedy's fault, and none of that is true.
Right? Yeah. No.
It's like, you have to understand what those people do for a living to understand what kind of mark they're actually making on it. And It's like if you were thinking 20 years out all the time, you are going to make different decisions than people who are trying to figure out what to have for breakfast next week.
Right. Yeah.
Or in 2 days from now.
Yeah. Let's talk about the other, narrative 500-pound gorilla in this last episode.
Fuck me.
And that would be what happened to Bib Fortuna after Jedi, which I was always curious about. And
he
oh,
was living large on the
Yeah.
remains of Jabba's empire.
quick little note. I knew it couldn't happen for multiple reasons, but it would have been neat if Boba Fett had flown back when Luke was there and have him be like, you're the. I can't take you now, but one day, Skywalker. I would have loved to exchange of Luke, him and being like, whenever you're ready, Boba.
That's a little too. I get it.
I know. That's why I didn't want it. But the nerd in me could be like, that'd have been funny.
Which you knew that they had that conversation at the writer's table of like, how are we going to do this? Boba's going to drive the getaway car and he's not going to be there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that's a fight that we don't want to put on screen.
Right. Boba ain't winning that fight. No.
So generally speaking, I thought it was fun that they put Bib Fortuna in there and did the weight thing, because it's just part of the title, right? If you're the head Hutt, you're bigger than all the other Hutts. So it's it's the
Hutt isn't a title; it's a race.
I know. I just can't think of. I didn't have. What is he like? He's a
Twi'lek.
He's a Crambus.
Wait.
Right. That's not a syndicate. He's just. Yeah, he's just a crime boss.
But it's the Hutt syndicate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so because he is the head of that syndicate, he is the biggest Hutt. They're not all his size. He was massive. And I always just assumed that was like a symbol of his status. Am I not making sense?
Yes, except Hutt isn't a title.
No, I know.
Okay.
I said that, and I didn't, because I did not have the title in my head.
Gotcha.
I think just what happens that if you are Jabba's major domo for most of your life, you might be second in command. You're still eating scraps, and now you're in charge. Bib Fortuna ain't never eating scraps ever again, and he's gonna keep eating and eating and eating. He's successful.
That vacuum can't stay, and so obviously Bib Fortuna is the obvious person to fill that role,
right?
And start enjoying all of the benefits that Jabba used to enjoy.
That and everyone else was on the barge and got killed.
That helped a lot.
That's true. There really wasn't anybody else in that den, except for a new sex slave.
Well, but Fennec freed her.
Oh man, I appreciate. We've seen what Fennec can do as a sniper and in close quarter combat with the same rifle. The fact that she cleans up Fett's light work is terrifying.
Right. I kind of like that idea that she's the right hand of Boba Fett now. And I get the impression that that's the position she likes. I get the impression Fennec never wants to be in the spotlight, as most snipers do not.
Right.
Because that gets you shot. I love that Boba Fett didn't even fucking talk. Didn't even say like, hello. It was just, he was like, pop. Shut up. Get out of my chair.
I mean, historically, not a big talker.
No, I know. I do appreciate the McClunky shout out. They worked that line in, which is hilarious.
The what?
Okay, so if you watch A New Hope now on Disney Plus, there is a new version. They basically put Han shooting first again, but Greedo still gets a shot off. And right before he does, for some reason, they have him yell out, McClunky! It's supposed to be like this Huddy's panic word. It's like supposed to be like the Huddy's version of like, oh shit. And it got mercilessly mocked when it was discovered. Everyone's like, "What the fuck is this? This is stupid. What is this?" So leave it to Favreau saying like, "Screw you. I'm going to put it in the show then. You watch this, jackass."
So this is like that season 1 scene with the, what is it, a bule 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 bule?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if you mock something in the Star Wars universe and if you're like, "This ruined Star Wars," Favreau and Filoni are like, "Watch this. You're going to put it in."
Not only are we going to make it canon, we're going to use it a lot.
I enjoy the idea that they're just going to keep taking all of the little nitpicky things that Star Wars fans hate over the decades, and then just like throw it in there just because.
Yeah.
M count. Fucking M count.
I also like
it's
how
like so
Jamie-
unnecessary.
I like how Jamie just put out that Fennec has literal abs of steel. Fennec.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
That's true.
So I like that their partnership. I like the fact that the Book of Boba Fett is much like what I was talking about with Star Trek Discovery. This is now the same thing that's happening with the Star Wars universe, where we have another show that is led by a Pacific Islander and an Asian American.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm really appreciating more Asians in my sci-fi.
What was the other thing what was he?
Oh, he froze.
Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaacs, Diego Luna, and
Mhm.
Rosario Dawson.
Mhm.
I saw
That
that
is
a few days ago. I'm like,
fantastic.
that's funny.
It's like good.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with it. We don't need any white people. It's fine.
Except Luke. Luke's fine. Keep
It's
Luke.
fine. He's fine.
I love that last shot, but I am such a sucker for the shot of like one of the scoundrel characters not pouring the glass of booze, but just spitting out the cork when the shot's just one of them chugging, and Boba just like. I think I noticed in that final shot. Rewatch. Well, you don't have to rewatch it. His pose is very similar to the end of Conan the Barbarian when Conan's on the throne. It's
You're
the
not-
boom. This is my house now.
You're not the first person to mention that to
yeah?
me that they got
Nice.
real big Conan vibes from
Yeah.
that last shot where he just sits on the throne.
Mhm.
When we were talking while we were watching it, it's like that was very King Lear.
Okay, yeah. I think the
So-
Book of Boba Fett is just someone's gonna straighten out the ledger.
Yes, I tend to agree. I think
Boba Fett has a fuck you list and he's cleaning house.
I'm going to be interested to see what that is, because this is not the Boba Fett from Empire. This is not the Boba Fett from Jedi. This is Boba Fett having lived hard for 5 years on Tatooine.
Oh, you're
Mhm.
right. I was thinking it was going to be, for whatever reason, I was thinking it's going to be like Old Man Kenobi.
No.
No.
But that's not quite right, because
And it's going to continue in the same timeline concurrently with Mandalorian and then the upcoming Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic, because all 4 shows are going to culminate in one crossover event.
although it might be nice if they drop in like flashback stuff so that we do get some sort of groundwork on what happened between the Sarlacc pit and the day he shows up with Fennec Shand to catch up with Din.
I'm actually hoping for, I am also hoping for flashbacks, but not just how he survived the Sarlacc pit and what he did for 5 years on Tatooine. I want them to go further back,
I'd be fine with that too.
because I'd like to see Boba Fett from the end of Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope. All of that area.
Right. That's
And
where the
also-
legend really grew.
Yeah.
Also, he doesn't. Boba Fett doesn't have any screen time in Rebels, correct?
No.
So he has a little bit of activity and like character development in Clone Wars, and then you don't see him again until the first movie.
Until Empire Strikes Back.
hmm
I mean, technically, yes, he's in the new editions of A New Hope, but
If I had to guess one of the ways the Book of Boba Fett is going to go,
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that thinks they have been secretly talking to Samuel L. Jackson, and the book of Boba Fett's going to end with Boba wanting revenge for his dad. I don't think Mace Windu's dead.
I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
That would tie into who saved Grogu. Because the theory is that Mace Windu survived the fall, got back to the temple, saved, took Grogu and sent him on the path that led him to the Mandalorian.
Right.
And then disappeared.
Yeah.
Although I thought isn't there a school of people who think it was Jocasta Nu?
That was one of my early thoughts, but only because
she would have been there when it happened.
Yeah. And she stays there even during post Revenge of the Sith until she has that confrontation with Vader. Where she turned her lightsaber into a friggin' sniper rifle. That was metal as hell.
The reason that I wanted to see that in between time between Sith and A New Hope for Boba stories is Daniel Logan, who is the second actor to play Boba Fett, is the right age to play a 30-year-old Boba Fett.
That's right. We talked about this last week, didn't we?
And he's still fit, and he's still he's gone to conventions cosplaying as Boba Fett.
Well, that's cool.
And it would be neat to see them use both Tamara Morrison and Daniel Logan to kind of tie that all together.
Yeah.
But that's my personal fan stuff. Whether it happens or not, who knows? But it would be fun. They could get to finally tell that story of how Boba's helmet got dented.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh shit.
And it's a slightly sad note, but there's kind of a bittersweet. It's kind of nice in a bittersweet way that the actor who played Boba Fett in the movies, the physical actor, lived long enough to see the character was really kind of given a raw deal in Jedi, kind of be given what the character deserves.
Yep.
And that's got to have been a pretty cool, because from everything I've heard, he was actually incredibly gracious.
Jeremy Bulloch.
He would go to conventions, even though he knew he was never the voice, and he actually knew he was never going to be the voice. They did tell him, they didn't pull David Prowse on him. He was still super gracious to play. Apparently he loved to meet fans. He'd wear the armor back when he could. He always posed with them. He was really cool with fans, apparently.
He also befriended Daniel Logan, and they kept in touch as he got older.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Also, cool. There are a lot of photographs of Daniel Logan in the Boba Fett armor.
Yep.
So he's down.
Yep. And I was reading the wiki on Jeremy Bulloch, he and his wife were still married. And they had 3 children together and 10 grandchildren between those 3 kids. So he from all accounts, he lived a good life that he enjoyed. So
that's always nice to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't often happen with genre actors. So
nope.
A good and long life. What more can you ask for?
He is actually on screen in Empire, outside of the Boba Fett costume. He's the Imperial officer holding Leia as they are escorting her off.
Yeah, when she's like, "Luke, it's a trap! It's a trap!" That's him holding her. Yeah, and then I guess the final thing, the thing that really got to me was, and this was super intentional, was the scene where he takes the helmet off so Grogu can finally look at him, because that's a straight up "let me look at you with my own eyes." And for as personally as awful as I kind of thought the CGI for Luke was, the one thing they did do pretty well is they gave Luke an emotional reaction to that. He had a slight I get what this means. I get this feeling. I get this. And I thought that was really, really subtle and really, really sweet. And I also like the idea of when R2 comes out, which also got me to choke up seeing R2 again. I was like, oh God, there he is. But in my head, you know, people think R2's shaking because he's excited, and I was like, no, he's thinking another one of these little green sons of bitches.
Mhm.
You know, last time I saw one of these things, he beat me with a stick. He took my flashlight from me, and now I got to fly with him. Ah.
Oh, that was ages ago.
You can tell me R2 doesn't hold a grudge.
Everything about what we've learned about R2D2 indicates that he is a grudge-holding motherfucker.
Yeah, murder bot. The only one more
Oh.
murderous is Chopper.
You know, I appreciate Chopper more than I do R2D2 because Chopper, I understand Chopper's murderous intent. Like that droid has
I was
PTSD.
gonna say, yeah, they never go out and say it, but that's a droid that has PTSD.
Yep.
I mean, R2D2 has seen a lot of shit.
He
Yes,
has,
but R2D2 is also a psychopathic murderer.
But you're saying that you understand it more from Chopper.
Chopper was an astromech droid that got pushed to the point of this was his reactions. R2D2 was killing motherfuckers inside of 2 years of his introduction in the Phantom Menace.
Good for him.
It still astounds me that on screen he filled a room full of battle droids with oil and then set them on fire with his jet rockets.
Yeah, but those are droids.
He's a droid.
That's like murder
That's
for your
worse.
own kind.
Yeah. I would have felt a little better about him doing it to people. But no, he did it to droids. It's like, oh, you're awful.
There's no Asimov rules in galaxies far, far away.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm. Nope. Yeah, R2D2 is a psychopath.
I love the little guy.
I didn't really realize that until it was after the prequels, and then I went back to watch A New Hope and went, oh, I don't like R2D2 anymore because he knew everything. He's never had his memory wiped. He recognized every single one of these motherfuckers, even though they're like, I don't recognize this droid. It's like, droid recognizes you.
And
You
that's,
don't
but,
recognize-
impression he-
but that's not R2D2's fault. It's Anakin's fault if it's anyone's.
True, but
Up until the point where he becomes Darth Vader, because at that point, someone says, wipe those droids, and it never happens because they get away.
it happens to C-3PO. Like, C-3PO has a etch-a-sketch of a brain. Like,
Well, he
you
also can't
throttle
keep
him
his
too
mouth
much.
shut.
Yep.
That's
Which is
true.
why you have to...
3PO's knows, you know, snitches get stitches.
Mm-hmm. Go.
Well, we should wrap up the show here. We've been going on for a bit.
Indeed.
I mean, we said we would.
Oh, that's true.
We
You know.
warned them. They knew what they were getting into.
That's true. I mean, the only downside is now I'm down a sci-fi show. Thankfully, The Expanse is back, so I still have 2 shows a week, at least until January when Discovery's done.
Yeah.
I
So
will
that
have to
helps.
start on that soon.
Have you watched any of The Expanse?
Nope.
Up until now? Okay.
Nope.
Um,
I did
So
just finish the season 1 of Westworld yesterday, so
ooh.
I'll get there.
The one thing I will say is that The Expanse is a very slow burn. It takes a long time establishing the universe to make it feel lived in and relatable before you really start to get to the crunch of the story itself.
I don't think that's true at all.
I do. I think it takes like 4 or 5 episodes before you really get story stuff. You get a lot of background world building.
I'm not going to argue with you because
That's
I don't
what
want
you
to
call a
spoil
slow burn?
anything for.
Compared to like what people expect now if they don't get hooked by first episode.
It is a modern show. You only get like 10-ish episodes per season.
Yeah.
So, you know, when he says 4 episodes, that's halfway through the season. No, I staunchly disagree, but I'm not going to get into it right now.
All right,
Because I don't want to ruin anything for cable.
All right.
Oh, I know what you're going to disagree. I know what. Okay, never mind. You're right. But I think we have different viewpoints on what I mean by slow burn.
Maybe.
Maybe. But if we say anything, we'll ruin it for cable.
All
We
right.
won't.
Don't do that.
All right. So next week, I think we're gonna do like a special kind of like cocktail hour for listeners.
Yeah, sort of a post-Christmas, not quite New Year's fancy party.
Yeah. Wear fancy hats, drink with our pinkies up, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Cable, I'm going to get you a tiny top hat to put on top of your head.
All right then.
I'm not going to do that unless you want me to.
Ooh, I'm good. Ooh. Oh.
There's a tiny
I got hit
top
with the
hat
yawns.
glued to his forehead.
You got me. Yeah, and
All right.
so we encourage listeners to put on a fancy hat of their own and some nice cocktails or
Yeah.
cheap beer or anything in between that range, and join us for our end of the year hangout.
Yay! Well, with that, I'm Aaron Duran.
I'm Vina Rita.
And I'm Cable Hashitani.
And we will talk to you all next week.